Hi, my name's Eric. I'll be reading you The Sandwich Enterprise for Friday, September 6th of 2024. And that date's important because we'll repeat this reading through Tuesday of next week. The headline above the fold, if there was such a thing in a digital newspaper, APCC seeks court's help to unveil gun range plan, by Teo Wolf. The Association to Preserve Cape Cod, frustrated that the military has refused to hand over public documents pertaining to bids for building a multipurpose machine gun range at Joint Base Cape Cod, has filed suit to force the issue. More specifically, the APCC this week filed a 12-page complaint in Suffolk Superior Court asking the court to order the Massachusetts National Guard and the Military Division of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to immediately produce public records on a pressing matter of great public importance, in violation of the Public Records Law. Andrew R. Gottlieb, the APCC's executive director, said in a telephone interview yesterday, September 5th, that his organization has filed 21 records requests with the Guard, various military agencies, the EPA, and the State Division of Capital Asset Management and Maintenance. We had to appeal to the Massachusetts Secretary of State's office 8 times, and the Massachusetts Military Division ignored the Secretary of State's directives 2 of those times, Mr. Gottlieb said. The Massachusetts National Guard ignored 9 FOIA, those are Freedom of Information Act, requests. The Massachusetts National Guard submitted a reply in writing to the APCC on August 22nd, which said, in essence, details about the bid process don't have to be made public. A spokesman for the Massachusetts National Guard said yesterday that the Guard, as a matter of policy, doesn't comment on open bid solicitations. Mr. Gottlieb said several of the records requests were filed in the last few months as the APCC is trying to ascertain whether the National Guard properly issued its latest bid solicitation for a scaled-back version of a machine gun range at the base. The APCC is leading the charge for environmental groups, residents, and legislators who oppose building a machine gun range of any size atop the Sagamore Lens. It's an aquifer that supplies drinking water to the towns of Falmouth, Bourne, Sandwich, Mashpee, Barnstable, and Yarmouth. The APCC's lead attorney, Lisa Goodhart, asked the Suffolk court judge for an expedited hearing, and a hearing date has been set for September 13th at 2 p.m. at the Boston Courthouse. There's some urgency, Mr. Gottlieb said, because he believes the National Guard's trying to rush through the solicitation process while there's still about $9 million in federal funds pledged for the original project in 2020. The funding's due to expire on September 30th. Next year's funding request for the machine gun range project was recently stripped from the National Defense Authorization Act by members of the Cape's federal delegation. The Massachusetts National Guard nevertheless recently re-advertised for bids on a smaller multi-purpose machine gun range, which the military has vowed to build in an environmentally responsible way. The bid calls for a 3-lane, 800-meter standard multipurpose machine gun range with accompanying range facilities, including range control tower, ammunition breakdown building, covered mess, classroom, and storage, at an estimated cost of $8.9 million. The latest proposal adds a number of practices to protect the water supply, including comprehensive sampling and monitoring of soils, stormwater, and groundwater for contaminants, increases in inspections and maintenance, and more stormwater and erosion control measures according to the plans. Mr. Gottlieb has said he is not entirely sure what the APC would find in those documents, but the rebid notice, which suddenly appeared in a Cape Cod newspaper, seemed questionable. The complaint says the APCC is looking for requested records that concern the Massachusetts Guard's preparation, formulation, and submittal of the public constructing rebidding documents by which the Guard now seeks, quickly, quietly, and without any public scrutiny, to contractually commit over $9 million of imminently expiring federal funding to the construction of its highly controversial, environmentally unacceptable, and fundamentally unnecessary larger project, which federal and state environmental authorities have not permitted it to build. The requested records are public records, Ms. Goodhart wrote, and the court should hold the Massachusetts Guard immediately accountable to comply with its legal obligation to produce the requested records. The APCC is also asking for attorney's fees and punitive damages. In an August 22nd response to the APCC's request for documents, the Massachusetts Military Division said it has been determined that such documents are currently exempt from release under applicable Massachusetts laws and regulation. The documents could compromise the integrity of the bid process, the Military Division said, and they concern policy positions under development. Their premature release would taint the deliberative process currently underway, the Military Division response says. Ms. Goodhart, in her complaint, emphasized that the requested records are not protected from disclosure under any applicable statutory exemption, and the Massachusetts Guard's contention to the contrary cannot withstand scrutiny. The Guard's scaled-down proposal, which reduces the number of firing lanes from 10 to 3, is the third plan the military's proposed, scaling back a little each time. The new proposal is one-third the size of the original, but will still cost the same $9 million, Mr. Gottlieb has said. As such, the latest plan, well, that's a lousy value for the American taxpayer, he added. Well, it's a new school year, and there's some new faces. School District welcomes 2 assistant principals by Taylor Frizzetti. 2 new assistant principals have started the new school year alongside Sandwich students on Tuesday, September 3rd. Mary Kate Stevens will be taking on the assistant principal position at the Oak Ridge School, which was held by Brandy Clifford before she retired over the summer, and Josh Clarkin will fill the position once held by current Sandwich Middle High School principal Jean Nelson. Dr. Stevens, that's Mary Kate Stevens, is from Northborough. She recently moved from Falmouth to Sandwich with her 2 young daughters and her husband. She holds a Bachelor's of Science degree in Psychology and Education from Northeastern, and after receiving her bachelor's degree, she received her Master's of Education in Moderate Disabilities from BC, that's Boston College, and returned to Northeastern University to earn her doctorate in Education in Curriculum, Teaching, Learning, and Leadership. Dr. Stevens began her career in education as a 4th-grade teacher at Mullen Hall Elementary School in Falmouth. She has a reminder of her teaching years in the form of a stuffed monkey named Billy Bob Joe, named by a former student, sitting on her bookshelf in her new office. That's my reminder that teaching is where it all began for me, and that's something I'll forever cherish, she said. After teaching in the classroom for 7 years, Dr. Stevens decided to take on more of an administrative role as the teaching and learning specialist for the Falmouth School District. It's kind of a unique role where you have the opportunity to extend your administrative licensure and work with the assistant superintendent on different curriculum-related efforts, she said. It was great because I really got a sense of the vertical alignment of the curriculum. In an effort to explore more administrative roles that allowed more interaction with students, Dr. Stevens applied for the assistant principal position. I walked into my interview here and it just felt like a very happy place where learning is valued, she said. Dr. Stevens said the most exciting aspect of her new role is that it allows her to interact with students on a daily basis. Being in classrooms today was just wonderful, she said after the first day of school. Being able to see kids and to see teachers in action, hearing songs and different activities, it was just really special to be back in the classroom. One of Dr. Stevens' initial goals for the school year is to get to know the Oak Ridge school community. First and foremost is building relationships, she said. I want to build trust and I want to build rapport. I want teachers and families to know that I'm here and accessible. Dr. Stevens said that she's also looking forward to seeing growth throughout the school, including students and staff. When she's not at school, Dr. Stevens enjoys spending time with her family, playing piano, reading, and watching Disney movies. She said she hopes to continue the positive impact that Ms. Clifford left on the community. It's important for me to carry the torch, Dr. Stevens said. Well, what about Josh Clarkin? Mr. Clarkin's no stranger to Sandwich. He's lived in town with his wife and 3 daughters for 25 years. He's originally from Wilbraham. Mr. Clarkin holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in Psychology and Sociology and a Master's degree in School Counseling from UMass Boston. He also holds a Certificate of Advanced Graduate Study in School Administration from American International College in Springfield. Mr. Clarkin said that he took a non-traditional career path, taking a break from college to explore careers in construction and landscaping. When I graduated high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do, he said. I went to school for 2 years and I really felt like, what am I doing in college? He owned a landscaping company for a short amount of time before his mother, who was a school psychologist, suggested that he explore a career in school counseling. Mr. Clarkin said that he took his mother's suggestion and jumped back into education, starting his journey at Cape Cod Community College before finishing up his undergrad degree at UMass Boston. And from there, he started a master's program in school counseling. So definitely more of a roundabout, and I started when I was 30 or so. But I like to think that brings a different perspective to education and working with kids, he said. He started his career in education as a school guidance counselor for 7th grade students at Sharon Public Schools. Mr. Clarkin said that although he loved the job, he applied for a guidance position at Dennis Yarmouth High School because it was closer to his Sandwich home. Mr. Clarkin said he plans to bring his experience as a guidance counselor in fostering relationships throughout the school community, especially with students, to his new role. I feel like we can accomplish anything if we're really trying to effectively build a relationship, he said. If any challenges come up, we have a better chance of success if we're actually working with people and getting to know people. After being a guidance counselor for Dennis Yarmouth Regional High School for 11 years, Mr. Clarkin then decided to explore career options in education administration, which led him to the role of assistant principal of Dennis Yarmouth in 2017. I felt like I could have a positive impact on kids still in administration, similar to guidance, he said. You can be supportive when you're doing discipline as well. Doesn't all have to be punitive. It's about working with people and meeting people where they're at, and then doing right by people. When the Sandwich Middle High School assistant principal position opened up, Mr. Clarkin said that he applied for it largely because of his daughter's positive experiences attending schools in the Sandwich district. I was really upbeat and positive about the opportunity, he said. It's always been a good place for our kids, so to be able to be part of the team now is really, really exciting for me. Mr. Clarkin said he's well aware that the student experience is more than just academics, and one of his goals is to support each student as a whole person. I love when I'm going out to the games and seeing students at the game and seeing them in the theater, whatever it is that these guys are into, and supporting them in whatever pursuit they have, he said. His other goal is to help students feel comfortable at school, especially students transitioning from middle school to high school. When Mr. Clarkin isn't working, he can likely be found at the rink or on the field, cheering on his children alongside his wife. He said that he also enjoys outdoor activities near the ocean, such as fishing, clamming, or just spending the day at the beach. The next headline, Sandwich students return to updated school buildings, by Taylor Frizzetti. All 3 Sandwich school buildings received upgrades and improvements over the summer, including new flooring and furniture at the elementary schools and roof repairs across the district. The list of completed projects was presented at the school committee meeting on August 28th. There are 2 big buckets here, Superintendent Joseph Maruchik said regarding funding. There's the spring of 2022 debt exclusion, which was a bond for $13 million, and then there's also the second bucket, that as we went through the fiscal year 25 budget cycle, we talked about getting additional funding, roughly $1 million from the town for capital expenditures. Dr. Maruchik deemed it the summer of the roof because of projects being done across all 3 school buildings. All 3 schools had shingles, expansion joints, and cupolas updated. It was pretty significant replacing those cupolas for the simple reason that they're very much leaking like sieves, Dr. Maruchik said. Additionally, 3 HVAC units at the high school have been replaced. Projects that still need to be completed included replacing the HVAC systems and boilers at Forestdale School and Oak Ridge School. Mr. George suggested putting those projects out to bid in early fall. Other projects include repairing the bleachers at the high school, significant upgrades to the security camera system and fob entry system across the district, and upgrading to energy-efficient lighting. Carpeting at the elementary schools has been replaced with vinyl flooring, and new student furniture has been added, including desks that can fit together to allow students to work collaboratively. The multipurpose rooms at Forestdale School and Oak Ridge School received a facelift via sanding and recoating. Both of the elementary school gyms were sanded and recoated as well. Notably, the outdoor basketball court at the high school has been revamped. That's a project spearheaded by 8th grade civics students who spoke on the need for improvement during an April school committee meeting. The PTA for the elementary schools raised funds to construct an age-appropriate basketball court at the Oak Ridge School. Throughout the district, common areas, such as classrooms, hallways, and stairwells, have been repainted. The girls' locker room in the high school was also repainted over the summer. To be clear, there's still much more work to be done in the span of 7 or 8 weeks, but the work has been super positive, Dr. Maruchik said. Also on the front page of today's Sandwich Enterprise, Cape Communities Come Together for Overdose Awareness Day by Amy Rothman. Each year, August 31st is recognized as International Overdose Awareness Day, the world's largest campaign to fight the stigma and end overdose. It's a day for family, friends, and loved ones affected by overdose to grieve, to honor and to remember those they've lost, all while working to remove the stigma that's so pervasive in communities across the nation. The Mashpee Substance Use Task Force promoted a memorial event on its website in honor of International Overdose Awareness Day, IOAD is the acronym, on August 31st. The event was hosted by Dawn Roach of Yarmouth. After losing her son to overdose in 2018, Ms. Roach began attending similar events in Boston to honor her son and joined groups that helped raise awareness for substance use and overdose. She soon realized the Cape had a need for its own memorial event for IOAD. Why are we going to Boston when we have a huge opioid epidemic on the Cape? Ms. Roach said in an interview with the Enterprise. Inspired to take action, Ms. Roach went on to create an event of her own that's been held annually since 2019, and it's grown to host hundreds of guests. The annual memorial invites the community to come together at Smuggler's Beach in South Yarmouth, where a candlelight vigil is held. 24-inch portraits of loved ones lost to overdose are displayed, and purple ribbons are distributed to guests. The color purple is recognized as the color of overdose prevention. Many towns, including Mashpee, display purple flags during Overdose Awareness Month, celebrated in August to honor community members that were lost to overdose. It's really a day that we love and honor those that we've lost, Ms. Roach said. This day has inspired many memorial events throughout the world. In the U.S. alone, there are more than 400 International Overdose Awareness Day events registered with the Pennington Institute. The Pennington Institute, which is based in Australia, is the global convener for this day. According to its website, the campaign raises awareness of overdose, which is one of the world's worst public health crises, and stimulates action and discussion about evidence-based overdose prevention and drug policy. International Overdose Awareness Day serves as a stark reminder that overdose is a global challenge, Pennington Institute CEO John Ryan said. While these events provide a safe space for guests to grieve and celebrate their loved ones, they can also provide resources to those who are actively struggling with substance use. At Smuggler's Beach, resource tables were set up where local organizations, such as the Duffy Health Center and the Yarmouth Police, offered assistance, information, support, and hope for those in attendance. The Candlelight Beach Memorial was sponsored by the Nicholas G. Zarhos Memorial Fund. That's a nonprofit organization that serves to support military families, veterans, and first responders. The fund was created in honor of 21-year-old Nicholas, a U.S. Marine Corps corporal and son of State Representative Stephen Zarhos. Nicholas was killed in action in July of 2009 in Afghanistan. The organization hosts events of its own, including the annual Big Nick's Ride for the Fallen, a popular motorcycle ride on Cape Cod. Ms. Roach has also partnered with Jamie and Karen Pena, who host the Ride for Opioid Addiction Recovery. ROAR is the acronym. That's a 50-mile charity motorcycle ride that aims to support addiction recovery. The ROAR ride will start at 8 a.m. on Sunday, September 8th at Falmouth High School. Here are Sandwich's unofficial primary election results by Taylor Frizzetti. Out of 17,384 registered Sandwich voters, 3,626 cast cards during the primary state election on Tuesday. Primary winners will advance to the general election, which will be held November 5th. Sandwich voters favored John Deaton over the other Republican candidate for U.S. Senator. He received 1,020 votes, followed by Robert J. Antonellis with 390, and Ian Kane, who received 136. In November, Mr. Deaton is set to face incumbent Elizabeth A. Warren, who received 1,895 votes in Sandwich. Republican State Senate candidate Carrie McCray received 923 votes, while her opponent, Representative Matthew Muratori, garnered 616 votes in Sandwich. Meanwhile, Democratic State Senate candidate Dylan Fernandez, who ran unopposed, received 1,819 votes. Democratic State Representative candidate Owen G. Fletcher received 1,798 votes. He'll face incumbent Republican Stephen Zarhos, who received 1,511. Republican County Commissioner candidate Ronald Beatty Jr. received 1,080 votes in Sandwich, while his opponent Cynthia Stead garnered 761 votes. Democratic County Commissioner candidate Sheila Lyons received 1,623 votes, while fellow candidate Mark Forrest received 1,450. In the race for Governor's Council, Democrat Joseph Ferreira garnered 1,787 votes. 131 voters wrote in a Republican candidate for the position. Republican candidate for the Register of Deeds position, John Meade, received 1,334 votes, while 230 Sandwich voters wrote in a Democratic candidate. Susan Moran has decided to leave her state Senate seat, but chose to run for the Clerk of Courts position, and she received 1,856 votes, while 114 Sandwich voters wrote in Republican candidates. The voter registration deadline for the November election is October 26th, and the vote by mail deadline is October 29th. There are several meetings scheduled for next week. Community Preservation Committee will meet Monday at 5:30 p.m. at the Sand Hill School Community Center. The Board of Health will meet Monday at 6 p.m. at the Sand Hill School Community Center. Historic District Committee will meet Monday at 6:30 p.m. at the Historic Town Hall in the second floor meeting room. The Recreation Committee will meet Monday at 6:30 p.m. in the Recreation Department, the Hamilton Hall Room. The Visitor Services Board will meet Tuesday at 8:45 a.m. in Historic Town Hall. Old Kings Highway Regional Historic District Commission will meet Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. in West Barnstable's Fire Station Meeting Room. The Public Library Board of Trustees will meet Tuesday at 7 p.m. in the Public Library McKnight Room. The School Committee will meet Wednesday at 6 p.m. at Historic Town Hall. The Select Board will meet Thursday at 7 p.m. in Historic Town Hall. No meetings were scheduled at press time. And the School Committee and the Select Board are meetings broadcast live by Local Government Channel 9, Education Channel 8, and Public Channel 6, and they stream at sandwichtv.org. All meetings are subject to cancellation. We'll move to the obituary section at this point. The first obituary in the Sandwich Enterprise of Friday, September 6th, is of Gary T. Lewis, Sr. of East Falmouth, who leaves family in Sandwich and East Falmouth, who passed on August 25th at the age of 72. Services will be private. The next obituary is of Richard N. Dwyer of Sandwich, who passed on August 23rd at the age of 77. The burial will take place at 12:30 p.m. on Monday, September 9th, at the Massachusetts National Cemetery in Bourne. The next obituary is of Paul J. Sacco of East Sandwich, a leader in the state's hospitality industry who passed on August 28th at the age of 82. Services were to be held this morning in Lexington. And the final obituaries of Marie Welch of Sandwich, who passed on August 30th. A funeral mass will be celebrated 10:30 a.m. on Saturday, September 7th at St. Teresa of Avila Catholic Church in West Roxbury, and the interment will follow at St. Michael's Cemetery in Roslindale. The following former residents or family of residents of Falmouth, Bourne, and Mashpee recently died: Andrew Benners, 79 of Mashpee, died September 2nd. Janice Butler, 85 of Pecasset, died August 24th. Joseph Gomes Sr., 75 of Falmouth, died August 27th. Frank J. Ippolito, 84 of Pecasset, died August 25th. Cheryl M. Keller, 78 of East Falmouth, died August 30th. Joan L. Kittredge, 78 of Falmouth, died June 29th. Lee H. Neppel, 74 of East Falmouth, died August 28th. Donna Lawler Mello, 56 of Falmouth, died August 30th. Carol A. Lynch, 77 of Sagamore, died September 2nd. Virginia T. Marlene, 94 of Bourne, died August 24th. Maureen F. Murray of East Falmouth, died August 29th. Francesca Parkinson of North Falmouth, died July 12th. Pauline E. Plow, 98 of Bourne, died August 25th. Miles J. Slosberg, 87 of North Falmouth, died August 31st. Michael W. Thorburn, 60 of Mashpee, died May 7th. And William F. Wright, 96 of Mashpee, died on August 27th. And that concludes the obituaries listed in the Sandwich Enterprise of Friday, September 6th of 2024. Several roadways will be affected in Sandwich. They're going to get surface treatment beginning on Monday. Several roadways in Sandwich are scheduled to receive an asphalt rubber surface treatment beginning Monday, September 9th. The affected roadways are Aviators Lane, Clipper Circle, Gully Lane, Route 6A Surrey Lane, Piccadilly Road, Pimlico Pond Road, and Quaker Village Lane. Residents are required to turn off their irrigation systems starting Sunday, September 8th between 4 a.m. and 6 p.m. to avoid possible work postponement or delays caused by wet pavement. The roadways will be open to traffic while the work is ongoing, although drivers should expect delays and use alternate routes if possible. And of course, our walkers, if many of our listeners who are blind are on those roadways, please be careful. This work is weather dependent and it could be canceled without notice. The work's being completed by All States Material Group of Sunderland. For more information, contact the Department of Public Works at 508-833-8002. Homeschool data shows enrollment had tapered down by Taylor Frizzetti. The number of Sandwich students enrolled in homeschool programs has gone down slightly from previous years. Assistant Superintendent David Quinn spoke on this year's data during a school committee meeting last week, Wednesday, August 28th. For the 24-25 school year, 57 students are currently enrolled in an approved homeschool plan as of August 26th. The amount of students enrolled in homeschool programs spiked during the COVID-19 pandemic, with the 2020-2021 school year having a total of 152 homeschooled students enrolled. Enrollment has decreased since then, with 95 students being enrolled in 21-22, 63 students in 22-23, and 66 students in 23-24. Generally, more younger students are enrolled in homeschool programs than high school students. For example, 3rd and 4th grades each have 7 students enrolled in homeschool programs, while only 2 11th graders are enrolled and only 1 12th grader is enrolled. School Committee Secretary Danielle Binyenda asked Dr. Quinn about family compliance regarding submitting instruction plans, progress reports, and other materials. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts has given families a wide range of latitude in terms of what they put forward for plans and how they report out, Dr. Quinn said. It's an active process to ensure that we're getting plans in, and it's also ongoing. Some families are a little bit more forthcoming with information and reporting, so it is an endeavor. School Committee Vice Chairman Kevin Surratt asked what the district's role is in terms of families who don't comply. Dr. Quinn said that although he has yet to reach the point of enforcing the procedure, it would likely involve Child Protective Services. Superintendent Joseph P. Maruchik reminded the school committee that they're responsible for the education of homeschooled children. They're our kids, he said. It's a very fine balancing act as far as your role as a school committee to ensure fidelity versus parent rights. To aid in the balancing act, Dr. Maruchik recommended that the district continue to operate in good faith and keep the lines of communication open, adding that the overwhelming majority of families operate in good faith. And with that, we've come to the end of our reading of the Sandwich Enterprise, dated today, Friday, September 6th of 2024. This is your reader, Eric, saying be well, be safe, look after each other. Remember our veterans, especially those we've lost recently. Bye for now.